So, welcome back to the channel. Straight into it. What we have here in front of us is a David Brown 995 in original farm condition. You might remember the other day we had to go and get this running when the owner decided to change the filters on his own, and he got it airlocked. So we went along and we got it running for him. So now is give us the task of changing the water pump. We suspected it was on its way. It's grumbling a little bit on the bearing. So he's given us the opportunity to change this water pump. He's got a new one. We've got a box of bits behind me on the bench. I'll show you those in a minute. But basically we've got to take the radiator off, the belts, the hoses, possibly the battery, maybe get this out of the way as well, make a little bit more room. Buzzer's standing by. He's been jet washing the trailer, so he's wet and he stinks, but he's up for a challenge, so no doubt he'll help us out in a bit. And yeah, so we're going to bring you along for the ride. We'll show you how to change the water pump on a David Brown 995. The customer's already taken the bonnet off for us and the weight block, so we haven't got that obstacle to get round, but we're going to crack on with it. I'll show you the parts. Okie dokie then. Right, new pump. Look at that. All painted up, ready, primed. Bearing feels absolutely beautiful on that. That's just spinning like a dream. So we've got the new pump. We've got a box. We've got I think that's the bottom hose. We've got a brand new bottom hose to fit. We've got a new belt. And we've got a new top hose. Also we have a rubber little connecting grommet for the top of the cylinder head and the top of the water pump. I believe it fits, let me turn that round, I believe it fits in there, sort of like that, and then you trap it, so we're going to sort that out. And then we've also got a brand spanking new gauze brass filter. Little bit of mesh for the top of the lift pump because that didn't have anything in, so the solids were getting through, and a new water pump gasket. So that's what we've got. That's what we've got to work with. This is the engine, and we're going to crack on and start dismantling. Get these hoses off, get the radiator gone, and we'll get into it. Just give you a little tour around the tractor. All original on the back end. I believe the customer Roy, he runs a bit of a sawmill and a wood yard, and he runs the PTO off this onto a log splitter. So he's just serviced all the hydraulics. As you can see, some nice new couplers have been fitted. Everything's been greased up, and you know, it's an old tractor, but he looks after it. Tin work's not bad. A little bit of surface rust. I believe he's doing something with the cab roof, because that got broken when he went under a tree. He's fixed the beacon. That now works. Got all the lights working. So yeah, it's looking good. We've got the doors for it. We've got the bonnet. Everything bolts back on, but we've taken it off while we're doing a little bit of maintenance on it. That's for the headlights on the bonnet. We've got a mystery cable down here. Don't know what that does, but we're going to investigate it, see if we can get it working. We're going to try and connect the throttle linkage back up because it only works on the foot throttle, so we're going to try and connect that up, and if we get time, we're going to have a look at the fuel sender, see if we can run him a cable, a wire from there to the clock, get him a fuel tank working so he can see how much fuel he's using. But first task, crack on with this water pump. First job we're going to do is disconnect the battery. We'll take the battery off first, then we're going to remove this frame, and then the radiator, hoses, water pump. So I've got some spanners, I've got a screwdriver, I've got the tools. Let's get into it. Safety glasses and readers on, and we'll disconnect the battery. Now it's negative earth, so we'll take the negative side off first, and that stops anything shorting out then. Battery disconnected. Right, I'm going to take it out of the way so I've got plenty of room. Just get it on the floor. Let's get that. That's seen better days, that side. There we go. Right, I want a 10mm now for those. 10mm. Let's get. No, it's not. It's a 12. Well, it might be 10mm. That's the battery away. So that's one of those, and one of those. So we've got everything stripped down, radiator's gone, fan's gone, and we've got the water pump there, and it feels horrible, basically. Plenty of crud on here, Roy, that you've missed. But never mind, that feels awful. There's loads of that's going up and down. There's loads and loads of play in that bearing. That's kaputtant, as they say. So let's get some magic juice on them and see what happens. Let that penetrate for a couple of minutes. Bearing in the alternator. That seems okay. I don't think there's any issues with that. I do believe I've got to pack it out with a washer though. I'll bring it forward to line the belt up. So might just take that off now while I'm at it. Put some release juice on them. Yeah, there's only those 2 bolts. I'll take that off because it just wants, it's a little bit out of line, and I think that's what's done the water pump in the past. Series of bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to come off, and the water pump should be away. So let's see what happens. That one's turned. That one's turned. That one's turned. Can't get in line with that one. That one's turned. And that one's turned. So that's got to be a spanner job, because that pulley stays on, because we've got a new pulley on there. So 14mm spanner won't fit, open-ended. She's turning. Now I think this looks like a stud. Oh no, it's coming off. She's coming off. Get a find it later tin. Magnetic. That's a bolt. Going round anti-clockwise in the order they're coming off, so it's nut, bolt, bolt, just in case they're different lengths, then you know which way, which length they are. They all look about the same. Nope, that's longer. DOS mass down here. different again. So this should break away now. Get the last bolt out. Little tap with the copper hammer. Oh yes, there we go. There we go. Wow. Build up a sludge in there. But that is the old water pump. Right, so this water pump has that's a packing out plate, and there's no gasket on that. That's why it's separated just there. So that's the pump, and the plate's on the back. So I've got to try and split that and get the get the gasket out. So there we go. Now we can see the workings inside the pump. Ooh, look at that lot in there. It's absolutely full of gunk. Impellers look all right though, but it's the bearing in the middle that's given up. It's got some serious play on it, and when it's running it's just grumbling like hell. So that's the scrap bin. Oh, I've got to clean this plate up now. Look at that, looks like the bottom of the Titanic there, look. It's just rust and deposits, so that might end up in the shot blaster. Back from the shot blasting machine. Clean that plate up lovely. There's actually a rubber ring in there, some sort of thing that lines up with that waterway to seal that, I think. So yeah, that's all nice and clean now. Shot blasted up a treat. Just going to clean this face up with a razor blade, and then we should be okay to start rebuilding. Got to get all this this surface nice and flat. Razor blade I find is the best thing to do it with. Use a Stanley knife blade if you want, but the razor blades tend to be a little bit sharper. Sure there's no old gasket residue left. Some people like to take a death wheel to it to clean it, but then I think sometimes you can put grooves in it and not realise, and then you get leaks. I think this is just doing the job nice. Now then, which way does that go? It's a conundrum. Which way around does that go? It can only go that way. It can only go like that. So that plate, yeah, that's, I see, yeah, that plate, the top two holes there are threaded. The rest of these are just holes, and those two are threaded to accept the top two bolts in the water pump. That's why they're short. And then there's only actually these four that hold it to the engine block. 1, 2, 3, and the stud 4. So it sits like that. That's why the rubber seal is on the back there, to seal that, to stop any water leaking out. So that's why it's got to be clean, and that just sits on there like so. So we'll get all the parts together and we'll get it rebuilt. So we've got it all stripped down. We've got the old water pump off. We've cleaned the face up. We've had the backing plate in the shot blaster. That's all clean, both sides, that's gone through. So we're ready for a rebuild. So we're just going to go through the parts, make sure we've got everything, and just going to clean the bolts, put them in the vise, give the threads a little wire brush so they're nice and clean when they go in, and then we'll put it back together. And then Roy, your tractor's nearly done, mate. You can have it back. So just before we rebuild everything, there's quite a bit of loose material inside there. So I'm going to put the hose pipe in, got the bucket, and we're going to just flush the block through and see if we can get anything to come out. So you guys keep your eye there and let me know if anything comes out. I'll go turn the tap on. I'm still with you, just a long way away. Let me know if anything's coming out. We got water? I think we might have. See whether they can backfill it. Oh yes. That's flushing the thermostat. I think that's it. We got clean water coming out both sides. I think that'll do us. So that's brought all the water out. Just let that drain. We've got a bit on the workshop floor, but I'm going to, while I've got the hose running, I am going to give the radiator a quick flush. See what's in there. This is my radiator flush area, and we can put the hose in there and see what delights come out of the bottom hose. Here she comes. Oh, look at the colour. Look at the colour of that. Get out. Definitely starting to run clean now. So I'll give it a swish round. Good morning, everybody. It's day 2. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you're over there. Okay. It's day 2 of the David Brown water pump rebuild. It got a little bit late last night. We had to go home. So we've got everything stripped down, let it dry. We cleaned the backing plate up in the shot blaster. That fits on there. So we've got to put a little bit of gasket seal on that face just to seal that. Well, it's really an O-ring. We'll put some gasket seal around it. Got a gasket for that side in the box, and we've got our new water pump which we're going to put on there. Cleaned all the bolts up, so basically it's fiddle time now with this rubber on there, which mates up with a little circle under there. It's only a little tiny diddy thing, and that fits in there. So we've got to somehow get that to seat without any problems. And that's what it's going to look like with some bolts in. And then we'll start to rebuild everything, make it brand new. And hopefully we should have a functioning water pump by the end of it. So yeah, let's get in. Let's do it. Got my easy chair. So got my gloves on, and the first job is make sure that lines up, which it does. So that goes on the back of there, like so, and then where have I put that? Where's the plate? Lost the plate, can't find the plate. Where are you, plate? Aha, you're on there already. That's why I can't find you. Yep, that goes on there. That goes that way. Rubber rings at the back. We're going to put some silicone lube around that. In fact, I'll do that first. Silicone lube. Always keep a tube of silicone in the old toolbox. This is what you put like bearing rubber bushes in and things. So that's just a silicone based grease, just to keep that supple and soft. Just remember, if you're shoving something in a hole, make sure it's lubed up. There we go. That's that job done. So that plate, want some sealer on there. So we've got this gasket, instant gasket thing, and as always, it's set in the tube. So we've done a little dissecting job, and we're going to put it on manually. So just a little bit, just round all this lot. Don't think it's that critical, but because it's only a backing plate, but just in case that decides to leak out, it's got some form of gasket protection around it. Float it out with the razor blade. So that's that done. So we can now fit the backing plate onto that. I'm just going to put a bolt in there just to hold that so it doesn't slide. And its gasket. Now I'm not going to put a lot on this, but just a little covering all the way around, because you never know. Like I say, my gasket dispensing tube has seized up, so I've had to cut it in half and use it straight out the middle. And these things ain't cheap, but we've all been there, definitely. There we go, just a little covering. Take that out. Slide that on. Doesn't want a lot. You've got about 15-20 minutes before that sets. So now, just going to put a little bit on that face, just in case it's not exactly flush on the new water pump, and then we can bolt it up. Here's the point of no return. Before we do that, we'll get the brand spanking new O-seal. Courtesy of Mayhill Tractor Spares. Like I say, the customer got this, and I'm just going to put some silicone lube on this one. Just a little covering of silicone all the way around, just to keep it supple. And also, it helps it stick and it's in place. Right, so that's that done. Just wipe my hands because I've got it everywhere. Okie dokie, right, pump in, rubber in the top. Let's offer that up. And somehow we've got to try and get that to go across. Right, we've got the water pump on, and we've got the David Brown manual out on the water pump section, and it says absolutely nothing about torque settings. So the paragraph starts there. I've read it all through. There's nothing in there about torque settings, and there's another piece there. Nothing in that about torque settings, and it goes straight on to regulators on the electrical system. So I think it's just going to be one elbow click, and that'll do us. Because I don't want to over tighten these and shear the bolts off, but I don't want to do it too loose either. So we'll do it to one elbow click and see how we get on with that. Let me know if you hear anything click. I think we'll be all right. I think we're going to be all right. I mean, that's not mega tight yet, but it's still gently compressing. That's tight. That's one elbow click. That's an elbow click. And that one. And that one. And I'll just get the spanner to nip that nut up there. So we got us a brand new belt here. It doesn't say much, it just says belt AVX10 DB option. Will it fit? Let's have a look. So there's no rotation on this, is there? It's a standard V belt, I think. Agri belt. And it's nowhere near long enough. So where's the old one? That's the difference. Nowhere near long enough. So, unfortunately, the old one's got to go back on. Doesn't look that bad. I mean, the old one's tight, but I'll just show you again. Can't even get it to go over the water pump, look, and that's on full adjustment. It no fit. Is the pulley bigger on this water pump? No, that's going to go on. Going to go on, but you've got no adjustment. Okie dokie, we've got a new belt fitted. The correct size, correct tension. We've torque-collated the water pump up. Had a bit of an issue with the alternator. We've had to bring it forward about a centimetre, 10 mil, something like that, because for some reason it was running offset, and I think that's what's done the other water pump. So we've got that more or less, well, it is bang in line. Just refitted the protection cover. I'm going to check the wiring diagram now, because I found this bad boy floating around at the back, and I think it might go in the middle of there. It looks like it does. But I'm just going to check the wiring diagram before I connect anything up and we set fire to it. So that's it. That's where we're at now. We're going to carry on building up the radiator, the fan, hoses, etc. And then we'll fill it with juice and get it running. And then, once it's warm, we'll tackle this little thing here, because it's full of stuff again. So we're going to have to strip that out and put a new filter in. And I think he might have got some bad diesel in his tank. But that's a story for another day. So we'll get this radiator back on, the airbox mounting, the fan, etc, etc, and we'll take it from there. Super smashing lovely. Right, bit of grease in there. Get rid of that. Always thinking about the next man who's got to get in here. So if we can make life a little bit easier for him, then we will do. So that goes that way. One bolt, 2 bolt, 3 bolt, and 4. is running as sweet as a nut. We've got no leaks, everything's back together. We've just changed the little brass gauze filter in there because it was broken, so we've done that. There she is, all finished. We've had it running, there's no leaks. We've topped the radiator up, we've just changed the little brass filter in the lift pump because it had a hole in it. That's the old one, so it was just letting unfiltered fuel through to the main filters. So in the sediment bowl we've changed that, that's all done, and that's it. I think it's finished. The David Brown 995. So I'm going to ring the customer now, they can come back, put the bonnet on and take it away. Job done. So if you've enjoyed that video and it's been a little bit helpful to you, maybe consider giving us a thumbs up, give us a like, and share it with your friends, and maybe subscribe to the channel because we've got another David Brown there. The engine has arrived back from the machine shop, so that is going to be next over there. We're going to build it up and get it running. That's a little 780, and been there a while, but she's a coming, and keep your eyes peeled because we've got some more Zeta videos coming up as well. We've been haymaking, so the only reason we've done this today is because it's raining outside. It's been raining for like 2 weeks, so that's why we've cracked on with that. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave the video. I know it's a long one, but I hope it's been helpful, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now. Buzz. Sounds lovely that now. There he goes off into the sunset.